Welcome to the Unorthodox Jukebox Podcast. A friend of mine, he's around early 40s, and he got a divorce recently, and he started dating. He got back into the dating scene, and a lot of his colleagues were giving him a little bit of flack about the fact that he decided that he wanted to date a younger girl. So this episode is going to be about why men prefer younger women. He and I had a discussion, and so trigger alert. you have been warned. And what I told him is never let an older woman tell you that you are wrong for dating a younger girl. So y'all already know this episode is about to be lit. Now, a lot of people are going to be bitter, and they're going to feel some kind of way about it, and they're going to try to shame you. This is what I told them. They don't want to be in competition. Never let that stop you from having a woman around you that you can mold. And this is going to make some people mad. I do need to give you a disclaimer that I'm going to change the direction that this show is taking because God has blessed me to have a lot of things, one of which is a woman who understands how to treat a man, who understands what being feminine means. So this particular thing does not apply to me. I was giving a friend advice, and it would be the same advice that I would give my son. So today I'm going to break down that question, why do men like younger women? And first, I'm going to have a video to sort of break this topic in because I find it odd that there's a bit of a double standard when we're talking about this.
This show is intended for mature audiences.
So I'm going to have some commentary on this video after we watch it. Here's the thing. I want the women who watch this channel to understand that I'm kind of like a big bro. I want to be a big bro to you, like a big uncle, because I see a lot of women saying they're single, and the reasons why they're single is part of what this episode is about. All right, without further ado, let's play the clip.
How do you feel about like a 40-year-old guy dating a 19-year-old chick?
I think that's really creepy, but if he has money, it's okay.
So it's okay to date a guy for his money?
Yeah?
Would it be okay for a
Hypocrisy.
guy to date a chick just because she has a fat ass and big tits?
If that's what he wants to do. I'm
Okay.
not hating.
So why is it frowned upon if a guy is 40 dating a 19-year-old, but that 19-year-old could sell herself on OnlyFans getting railed, and that's okay?
No, I understand that. I just think it's creepy because, like, the 40-year-old man has options of, like, 40-year-old women. You know what I mean? Like, the 19-year-old, that's, like,
She
barely
has options,
legal.
too.
Like, that's weird.
But isn't
like,
it?
Leonardo DiCaprio, like, that's fucking weird. We can agree.
But isn't it? We can disagree.
Okay.
We
Isn't
can
it
disagree.
kind of creepy to have a 19-year-old getting railed online though, while there's millions of dudes busting nuts to her?
I mean, I don't personally have an OnlyFans. If that's what she needs to do to get money, that's what she needs to do. I mean, like, if you had a pussy, wouldn't you? Like, just if you didn't have to show your face.
Whoa, lady, whoa.
You know, like a
Probably
little
not.
bit, if you could just make, okay, just your titties then. Like, you can make some money just by, like, I don't know, I don't have an OnlyFans, I don't know how it works.
Well, I wouldn't do that if I was a chick because I know a man wouldn't really value a woman and wouldn't want to take her seriously if she was doing that.
I mean, I don't have an OnlyFans, I'm not comfortable doing that, but if someone else does it, I just think it's really weird to be like, I think it would be equally weird if, like, a 40-year-old woman was dating a 19-year-old man, you know?
Okay, let's break this down. First of all, she said that it's really creepy, and a lot of women use this verbiage to shame men into not pursuing what their selection is. Let's say you go to a lounge and you're having lunch. In this case of the guy that I told you, 40s, divorced, single now. You have a discussion with a young lady. When you first have a discussion, the only thing that leads you to have that discussion is if the person is attracted to you and you decide that you want to spark up a conversation. At that point, you don't know the age. You don't know anything about them. Okay, so that in itself is enough to kind of disqualify the thing that if I were single and I went to somewhere, say a Nobu, and I was having lunch and I saw a young lady that I wanted to talk to, I'm not thinking in my head, I wonder if she's 19 or 20. I have an age cutoff, but I'm just saying that's how these things happen. So if they meet and they hit it off, in most women's opinion, and you guys can jump in here and comment if you think I'm incorrect or if you have a rebuttal, they would say that that is a natural occurrence. If you meet a person in a public place, you talk to them. But then if you find out the person is 19 and he was 40, or she was 20 or early 20s and he was 40. Now he's a creep. That doesn't make any sense. And then in the same breath that she said all this stuff, she said that it's okay if women market themselves online in a promiscuous way, but it is not okay for a man to simply have a preference of a younger woman, even if he meets that woman by these kind of means. Now, let's break this down, okay? He and I had further discussions, and he pointed out some things to me that I couldn't necessarily disagree with him. One thing he said, and I agree with this, is that you can paint more on a blank canvas. And I'm going to expand my thoughts on it here, but I want to start by saying this. I'm a huge proponent of men and women working together to create something beautiful. I have that with my woman, but all men don't get that. And the dating atmosphere is not necessarily conducive to a relationship like that. Okay? Now, hopefully, if you're a faith-based person like I am, you find somebody who also has similar values. I'm truly trying to help y'all, so don't get don't get triggered, okay? Now, if the girls are of legal age, who cares? I have daughters, so I had to think about this long and hard. But if the girl is of legal age, she can make her own decisions. Who cares who this guy dates? Now, you like what you like, and men are drawn to younger, prettier things. It has nothing to do necessarily with, oh, I want to rob the cradle. I want to talk to a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old and I'm 40. It has nothing to do with that. It's simply the attraction is there and men are drawn to younger, more fertile. That's just the way that biology has been since the beginning of time. So if the girls are of age, who cares? And if an older, more established man, let's take my daughters for example. If an older, more established man wanted to marry my daughter or whatever, and I knew that he could provide, I would actually probably be more apt to approve, since I know that at least by that time a man he will have more means to take care of her. He will know how to treat a woman. It's probably more likely that relationship will last longer. That being said, I would also be able to give my daughter the game and tell her how it really is if it wasn't for real and if he was only trying to get one thing from her. That's why women need fathers in their lives. That's why young girls need their fathers in their life to teach them the game. So to my friend and to any other men who may be single, maybe up in your earlier mid-40s, and you have women shaming you saying something like this, don't let anybody shame you into not liking what you like. Now, again, I said of legal age. That means 19 and above. Now, I personally wouldn't go probably below 27 or something like that. But now let's take into consideration that when a man sees a woman he likes, he does not know her age. It's just the natural attraction between women and men. So, oh, she's pretty. I want to talk to her. I want to get to know her better. That's where I'm coming from with that. And if I talk to this girl and this girl is mature, or we have a good connection, we have good chemistry, we probably won't learn their age until a little bit later. So it's not like most men are trying to deliberately talk to young girls. Back in the day, really for thousands of years, women got married very young. They got married around, say, 14, 15, and they had a lot of kids, and they end up staying with the man, and usually those marriages lasted forever. And all women like when you can teach them something. If you can't, as a man, teach them something, they feel like you're not on her level. If she knows everything, if she's already established, if she has more experiences, there's going to be little that you as a man can come in there and try to provide her. I would say probably about a decade ago that women who are dating would have less bodies. But today, man, these women have no shame about having a bunch of bodies. So that's one thing. Okay, women are out here going after the guys that have means. The guys that have means are always upper in age because it takes men decades to build their worth. So to my friend, I told him, look, if you're going to be engaged with any woman, if you're going to be spending time and money and effort with any woman, at least let it be somebody hot and let it be somebody easy to mold. Let it be somebody that's more agreeable, that can still be open to learning new things and new experience. Now, there's this discussion, and the lady mentioned it in the video, about it being creepy when an older guy dates a younger girl. And I won't go into that too much, but I will say that I have a cutoff if I was dating. Thank God I have found my life partner, because it's cutthroat out here. It's very materialistic. People don't often go for connections or long-term things. They're just looking for what can I get. That's how the dating landscape is today, in my opinion. And but as he was asking her these questions, I was thinking to myself, why isn't it the other way around? There's gonna be, with younger women, less resistance on what you're telling them, especially if you are providing an above average experience for them. Now, there's this discussion about it being creepy when an older guy dates a younger chick. Women will high five each other like, get that bag, girl, when they are taking advantage of a guy, sugar daddy, y'all heard that term, that has more means or more money. And they don't really care if that guy's older, because the guys her age are not really in a position where they can do anything like that, take them on trips, these kind of things. And most men do not really get into their stride and settle down as far as making money and career until early 30s, maybe later. And they're getting it together, college, building a career, all of that. That's what they're doing before they reach their 30s. And that takes time. So what if my daughter was dating an older guy? I would probably approve. I would have to meet him, vet him, things like that, things that I will teach her to do. But I'm not going to just automatically say this guy's a creep, if they met in an organic way or something like that. So we got to stop the shaming. It's a double standard. Oh, it's okay for girls to have OnlyFans and sell themselves online and wear provocative clothes and act like an adult film star or act like a slut. But it's not okay for a man to have a preference of maybe a younger, tighter, hotter, whatever. And again, I'm probably going to ruffle some feathers and step on some toes when we get further into why men prefer younger women. Now, I know a lot of people can attest to this fact. Older women and men are stuck in their ways and they want to do things their way. Women who are older, they have all these things that's going to make it very difficult to get along with her. For instance, she's going to have already had other experiences, bigger, higher expectations that she will expect from a man. That's going to make her, by nature, harder to deal with and more combative. It takes a whole lot of self-control to balance that with the real world men who she's going to be dealing with. Y'all heard it, 6 feet, 6 inches, 6 figures. So they all want somebody tall, somebody with money. They all want somebody who can make love to them right, that's mature, who has built something. The men that have done that are not young. And they all feel that they deserve this, even though a lot of them fall short of the mark of being relationship material. They feel like they are entitled to that instead of having to earn that kind of man. And you can tell just by the comments on these kind of topics how combative and how disagreeable they are. They do not want to let men lead. They say stuff like, and I actually had this on one of my other posts on TikTok, exact words: I will be submissive when I find a man that can lead. A man might be capable in all the areas that you want, but maybe he doesn't make 100K. So in your eyes, in the eyes of the woman, because of her unrealistic expectations, he might miss the mark. This happens all the time. Men and women think differently already, and there's a drastic difference. So the more that a woman has on her canvas, meaning AKA more bodies, more experiences, more kids, more body count, the more drastic that thought difference is going to be, the harder it's going to be for a man, even if he has good intentions, to get through to her. It's going to be harder to convince her of anything, because at a certain point, a woman already has in her mind what a good man is, even though she's not a man. And that's a question for you here. What do you think constitutes what a good man is? So for the ladies, I want you to put it in the comments, and I want to see how different the answers is going to be. What constitutes what a good man is? Type it in the comments, type it in the chat. Now, my opinion is that it should be measured by the market and other high value men, but men are always measured, always, on what we have, on our status, all that kind of things. Before we even will get a chance with a woman, we're measured by all these things. Now, again, I'm in a committed relationship. My girl is part of what I consider the 5%. And I do believe that she would be with me if I didn't have anything. But the truth of the matter is, I think that a woman will not give you the time of day if you don't have something built already. No woman wants a bum. This is just reality. So why are we arguing this point? Now, I did another episode and I did some research. Scientific studies say that by the age of 25, all of us, men and women, we are pretty much stuck in our ways unless something catastrophic happens to us that will make us change or some major life event happens. So that girl who has her degree, she has those experiences. Good luck trying to convince her of anything. Her mind is already set on certain things. If you find one that's teachable, then bro, you found you a needle in a haystack, because like women never want to be wrong. They never want to be wrong. They have a hard time admitting when they're wrong. Not all of them, but a large majority. And as long as a woman is consistent, I would say take her off the market if you find one like that. Obviously, you got to have proper precautions because people change and you want to protect yourself and you want to protect her. But I really do think that women motivate men to be better, because sometimes women are the only reason that men try to earn more, so they can have nicer cars, so they can have the nicer places, so they can impress women. So they're an excellent motivator, but men, don't let that be your only motivation. Women that are older, they're more opinionated, they're more bossy, they're more unagreeable, they're stuck in their ways. They won't change their mindset. And men, we don't necessarily understand. We see it as argumentative because she's fighting against all her conditioning that's gone on in her life previous to you. And if you are a different change of pace, it's going to be almost impossible to reprogram her way of thinking. So just go find a canvas that doesn't have that much paint. And that's the conversation that he and I ended up having, was just, it's better to find a canvas with less ink on it. But here's one caveat to this though. Okay. Women make rules for the guys that they don't really want, and they forego all the rules for the guys that they really do want. And it just so happens that most of the guys that they break the rules for are not the good guys that, you know, went to school, got their degrees. Those guys are not, you know, they're boring. They're not exciting until later. For example, a woman might be dating a guy and say, I don't have sex on the first date, or I don't do oral, I don't do this, I don't do X. But for the right guy, she'll do all those things, and she won't ever say those things to him. I'm not extreme, and I won't say don't ever date an older woman, but there's a ton of extra problems that come along with this. And they probably have been cheated on, because we ain't you know, I can admit that. All men have this stage that they just are F-boys, or they're exploring their options. And a lot of women get caught up in that phase of a man's life. Women catch men in that stage and they end up getting hurt. And a good range, I would say, is around 25 to about 27 if you're starting and you haven't been married yet, because they can still be molded. They are still open to learning things. They're not that opinionated yet. They're still young and beautiful and hot and sexy. They probably are more open to going to the gym if you mention that to them. And you know, there's still some optimism there, and they will probably more than likely be willing to help you build, or rather be willing to build with you. If you have a little bit more than they do, it'll be easier to convince them to, hey, that I'm a man worth building with. We shouldn't have to do that, but again, we're always judged. It's the way of life. I'm not really sold on the whole 30 is the wall thing, but yeah, around about that age, right? They have not hit the wall yet, and they have not, like, reality hadn't hit them yet. They're still young and pretty. They can still kind of like be carefree and still get a dude. And so at 27, though, they're getting close to 30, and they get more realistic about their options and what they need to do to get and keep a man. Now, there's too much there you as a man are not prepared to tolerate for too long. Let's take a pause here, and I want to ask a question. What age do you think is too young for older men to date? Leave me a comment. Let me hear what y'all think. Leave it in the comments. And please donate to the show via Cash App. Help me get better cameras, better equipment, something like that. You can do that at Rivers World 1. Let's be real, okay? And I'm going to get some flack from the fellas for this. Let's be real. I'm not going to sit here and say that older women aren't dateable or fun or that they're useless. I think people who say that kind of stuff, I think they're trolling and they're being kind of unreasonable, because let's face it, it's some bad cougars out there. But here are the 3 questions that you've got to ask before you decide to deal with an older woman on a serious level. And listen, women got to understand that just because you are still hot, if you're older, men do want to deal with you, right? Because you're pretty, but not for the reason that you want. It's always like the women that the men that women want don't want them back in the way that they want them to want them. I probably messed that all to confuse y'all. Meaning that if a woman sees a guy that she wants, that guy usually is not interested in long-term commitment with her if she's older. That's just the way these things go. Not necessarily that we picking on older women or anything like that. But here's the 3 things you got to ask them. 1, are they teachable? Will they listen? Will they be cooperative? I'm here to tell you that most won't. If you disagree with me, I'd like to hear your rebuttal in the comments. Y'all leave it. Older women who have been getting it on their own, they often have experienced a lot more things. So for instance, your gestures or trips or nice restaurants that you think are nice may not necessarily impress them. And that might come off as them being ungrateful, which frankly, if you ask me, it is. If I take you somewhere and I already been there, or you act like that, like for you women that say Cheesecake Factory is not enough, you women, I'm talking to y'all. Y'all ungrateful, okay? Or, let's just say if I take a woman to Maestro's, she'll be like, oh, I already been there. It's not all that. Okay, then you can go with somebody else. I'm done. No more Maestros for you. Look, men are sometimes stupid. And here's what we don't get. Sex cannot be the thing that ties you to that woman. If a woman cannot be an asset and bring value outside of sex, and man, get that through your heads. Forget about the sex, man. All women can give you that. There's plenty of freaks or whatever you want to say. Plenty of women that will tickle your fancy. If they can't do these things, if they can't answer those questions, bounce. Leave. If you work hard, you deserve somebody that values your time and that wants to be around you. Very often, men get stuck with women who tolerate them, not who really truly want to be around them. Like me and my girl, when she comes home from work or I come home from work, we're genuinely happy to see each other. That thing you see on the movies where the girl runs up and jumps in his arms and he catches her. We do that kind of stuff. And it is possible, but it's just not, it's a very small percentage of women who are still like that, that don't have a lot of baggage or, that aren't in the I need to be saved kind of phase. Again, y'all fire me up in the comments. I want to hear what you got to say about it. So, to the men, once you upgrade yourself, women no longer have leverage over you. The day that you can turn down the low-hanging fruit, and I've said this before, or easy women, and you use those words I told you to learn, no, or no thank you, or I'll pass. Now you have leverage. You can dictate what happens in that relationship. A woman can either be the greatest thing to happen to your life and build it up, or the worst thing to come in and tear things down. And you want to be in a place where you can still recover and you can still thrive if she is the latter. And even better, you want to be in a place where you don't even have to be in that situation. So if you find a woman that you think is cool, cute, whatever, but the woman is not agreeable, have standards and just cut her loose. You don't need that liability. I've already told you guys what a woman needs to be to take her seriously, but here's a few hints. Ask a woman what she rates herself overall. And if it's, say, like an unrealistic standard, like I'm a 9 or I'm a 10 or that kind of malarkey, and she's a 5 or a 6, you know that if she does that, you will not be able to tell her or show her anything because she doesn't think she has room to improve. If y'all disagree, I'd like to hear in the comments what y'all think. That's going to be a headache for you, my guy. So don't be afraid to go over and head over to the junior college, man. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. That's my take on it. I'd like to know what you guys in the comments think. Remember, fellas, never give your resources to a woman who doesn't deserve it, and you do have the right to say no to being finessed. But make sure that you are being the best version of yourself that you can be. Get in the gym, get your money up, get your mindset up. Go check out the merch. Go check out the book that I've written. All of that stuff will be in the description. Please make a donation. If you like the show, helps me get better equipment, helps me do more advertising to reach more men and help more men with these kind of things. Also women too. I'm to help you get a man and this is for the women that say they want a relationship, not for all you. I'm independent and don't need a man. This ain't for you. You're going to be very aggravated and triggered if you if you watch this. See you guys on the next show. Peace.